Every generation gets a handful of players that make you stop what you're doing and just watch. Right now, we have more of them than we've had in years. But here's what nobody talks about enough. Every single one of them has a wall that they haven't fully climbed yet. Not a weakness, a wall. Something standing between where they are and the all-time greatness people are already writing their names next to. This isn't about tearing them down, it's about being honest. Because the best ones, they know it too. Let's start with one of the most extraordinary teenagers football has ever produced. By the time Lamine Yamal turned 17, he'd already become Spain's youngest scorer at a European Championship, Barcelona's youngest starter across multiple competitions, and the public face of a club still emotionally bruised from losing the greatest player who ever lived. That last part is the problem, not the records, the weight of what they mean to the Barca fanbase. Messi had Ronaldinho shielding him, a dominant squad around him, and nowhere near today's level of social media scrutiny. Yamal has a rebuilding side that leans on him in big moments, and an internet that will treat every quiet game as proof the hype was premature. At 127 appearances before his 18th birthday, compared to Messi's 33 at the same age, the work rate is staggering. But psychological sustainability is the real question. The blueprint for what happens when this isn't managed carefully? Ansu Fati. Once called the next Messi, now a cautionary tale at 23. Yamal himself said it plainly, "I don't want to be Messi, and Messi doesn't want me to be him." Smart kid. The world just needs to listen. Erling Haaland scored 50 Champions League goals in 49 appearances, a record that may stand for decades. And yet, when City face a compact side that dares him to do something other than finish, he can vanish entirely. In the 2024-25 season, he became the first player in Guardiola's entire career to complete just 3 passes across 90 minutes. Against Inter in the Champions League, he finished with 14 touches. Guardiola defended him. He had 6 players around him. 6, and that's fair. But the best complete strikers influence games even when space doesn't exist. Dropping into pockets, linking play, winning duels to shift direction. Haaland is so elite that improving his build-up involvement even marginally makes him genuinely undefendable. The machine just needs a few more settings. Speaking of players who need a new setting entirely, Mbappe's first season at Real Madrid was one of the most scrutinised debut years in football history. The 4-0 El Clasico humiliation, crucial penalty misses, Deschamps citing physical and psychological problems, Mbappé himself admitting, "I hit rock bottom." He covered just 8 kilometres in that El Clasico, with Ancelotti reportedly furious at his refusal to press. He did recover, finishing with over 30 goals across all competitions. But the narrative damage, the PSG friction with Neymar and Messi, the public penalty disputes, the perception that he already peaked as a teenager, that is the wall. At Madrid, surrounded by Vinicius and Bellingham, the version of himself the world needs to see is one who elevates those around him to win trophies. He has the goals. He now needs the legacy to put an end to those saying they can't win with him. From one Madrid star to another, Jude Bellingham played the entire 2023-24 season with a dislocated shoulder strapped in NFL-style armour, scoring 23 goals and finishing 3rd in the Ballon d'Or anyway. He played Euro 2024 with it, then the whole club World Cup, before finally having surgery in July 2025. He told reporters, "I've been waiting a long time and my patience is running out. I just want to feel free." That ferocity is what makes Bellingham special. It's also what will shorten his career if he doesn't evolve. 2 significant injury stints before his 22nd birthday is the warning sign. The next phase of his development isn't physical, it's learning to dominate games without always needing to sprint through them, to control tempo. A player with a different physical challenge is Jamal Musiala. His close control in tight spaces is virtually unplayable domestically, the kind of dribbling that makes defenders look like they're standing in sand. But on big European nights against physically dominant opponents, he can be pushed off the ball. His game is built so heavily on agility that upper body resistance isn't yet a weapon. Against sides that press him aggressively and target him physically, his possession numbers drop in the moments that define knockout football. This isn't about becoming a different player, it's about adding enough core strength that opponents can't simply lean him out of a game when it matters. Now to a player whose problem isn't tactical at all. Dembele's career has been the most frustrating hot and cold saga in recent memory. At Barcelona, the reports were almost too strange. Persistent hamstring injuries tied to poor sleeping habits, gaming through the night, staff visibly exasperated. On the pitch, two-footed, genuinely unreadable, capable of unlocking any defence. At PSG, there have been massive improvements, and he is now even a Ballon d'Or winner, which very few players can say. But Dembele now needs to string together multiple elite back-to-back seasons and prove his rise wasn't just a fluke. We've already seen his ceiling. Now he needs to make sure we don't see his floor again like at Barcelona. Cole Palmer's challenge is structural. He left City's obsessively organised environment and walked into Chelsea's ongoing experiment, becoming the penalty taker, the creative hub and the emotional leader of a club whose squad turns over almost annually. In 2024, he scored 4 first-half goals against Brighton, a Premier League first. He won the Conference League and the Club World Cup Golden Ball, but groin issues, hamstring tears and a broken toe have all taken their toll, each one hitting harder because Chelsea's depth cannot absorb his absence. Reporters put it bluntly last summer, Chelsea need to alleviate the workload on their number 10. Until real support structures and consistent management are built around him, he's carrying a weight no 23-year-old should carry alone. Then there's Vinicius Jr, whose problem is entirely self-inflicted, which makes it both more frustrating and more fixable. He has the Champions League medals, the clutch goals, the dribbling that makes elite right-backs look amateurish. He should be the face of this era. Instead, one of the defining images of 2024 was the empty seats at the Ballon d'Or ceremony after Real Madrid boycotted upon learning Rodri had won. La Liga president Tebas called it exaggerated victimhood. Rodri later revealed he wouldn't have even voted Vinicius second. This is what constant referee confrontations, reactive gestures to opposition fans, and turning games into personal battles costs. Not silverware, but something harder to recover: the narrative. When Vinicius is locked in and channeling everything into football, nobody can touch him. But sometimes his biggest opponent is himself, his ego, and his unlikable attitude. Bukayo Saka has played more minutes for Arsenal than anyone else since Arteta arrived in 2019. 9 goals and 13 assists in just 24 appearances, before a second major hamstring surgery in consecutive seasons cut his 24-25 campaign short. The pattern is clear. Arsenal without Saka drop points in title races, and Arsenal with a fit Saka are genuine contenders for everything. He signed a new long-term deal recently, saying he believes the trophies are coming. The ambition is right, but staying available across a full season and being the player who gets Arsenal over the line is still the thing left to prove. And finally, Endrick. Real Madrid gave him the number 9 shirt, once worn by Di Stefano, Ronaldo Nazario and Benzema, and he could barely wear it in competitive football. He arrived as one of the hottest prospects on the planet and accumulated just 847 minutes in his debut season. When he got his chance against Getafe, he missed 2 openings, and Ancelotti publicly called his play theatrical. He went out on loan to Lyon, where the goals have flowed, but the Madrid wall is real. It has ended more talented young attackers than almost any other club in history. The Bernabeu doesn't do patience, and it doesn't reward potential. Endrick has the fire, he just has to learn where to point it. These aren't flaws, they're the next chapters. The difference between a great player and a truly generational one is almost never found in what they can do, but in what they're still working on. Who do you think will get over their problem first? Let us know in the comments. Remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to turn on post notifications so that you never miss out on any new videos. We'll see you next time. Bye.